and welcome to another action-packed, exciting hour of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Rewatch Along Project. This is podcasting the way it used to be and the way you like it. This show is a production of the Something Else Podcasting Network, and it is episode number 147 of Smoky Mountain Wrestling from November 19th, 1994, taped November 7th, 1994, from the Garden High School in Oakwood, Virginia. My name is Arya, and joining me as always is the Justin Hawk Bradshaw to my Savio Vega. It's Trey. Trey, how the hell you doing today?
Now, if I was Justin Hawk Bradshaw, I would not show up in Smoky Mountain Wrestling until right after you finished.
Well, if I was Savio Vega, I just wouldn't show up at all because I was never booked.
True.
I wanted to see if you wanted to have a match on the free for all for International Incident and then have a vague feud that kind of happens on TV, and then we can have a Caribbean strap match at Mind Games.
You remember when Miguel Perez was randomly on the show against fucking Bill DeMott?
I do. I feel like you could have said, do you remember when Bill DeMott was randomly on the fucking show?
Yes.
Oh,
Because there's
God.
randomly like some wing guys from the Hot Wing Federation, if
Yes.
anybody remembers the reference.
Was that this? It was the same taping as Kanemaru, right? Or is that a different
Yeah,
taping?
yeah,
Yeah,
that was the same taping.
yeah. The most graphic scene in Smoky Mountain Wrestling history in an elementary school gym. Kevin Sullivan bloodies the fuck out of Wing Kanemaru.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. It's funny because Kanemaru had like a random match on an ECW pay-per-view and didn't bleed at all. But here on Smoky Mountain Wrestling, he lost a gallon of blood.
Yeah.
Oh God, I was watching before we started this. I was watching the Shawn Michaels Diesel No Holds Barred match from In Your House. I think Stevie J was at that show. He told me.
Oh.
Yeah. So shout out to Stevie J for being at that show. Um, it's always funny like with those In Your House shows. It's like I remember I'd read in the after mags like all these random ass dark matches they'd have. I'm like, oh man, I want to see these random ass dark matches. And now when they pull them out and put them on the vault, I'm like, who gives a fuck about this?
Because there's so many matches.
There
That's the
really,
problem.
really is. And it's funny because, like, as a kid, I would have loved to go to one of those WWF marathon TV tapings in the 80s. And it's like, nowadays, having been to like a Raw SmackDown Super Show and have been to a Dynamite Collision taping and of all that, it's like, I feel like I've been to it. It's not the same, obviously. It's not just 4 hours of squash matches with a Hulk Hogan main event. But it's like, I feel like I've seen enough, long ass TV tapings.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So did you notice this week? And I don't know, maybe they just forgot some stuff, but it didn't feel like production was a little different this week. Like not just the graphics. The graphics obviously were a choice and they had to work on that. But like, behind JR and Les, instead of the backdrop with the 58-pound sign, instead it was like a gray backdrop with like a ring apron on it.
I did in fact notice that.
And also like the lighting was just weird. And like I guess they never really exclusively used like, the lighting rigs. Like they have them, but it's like it felt like it was more of the lighting of the gym, like the high school gym lights as opposed to the TV lights. It just looked a little wonky. And I guess we'll see if this is how it's going to be from now on, or if this is just a weird one-off for a TV taping this month.
Yeah, I don't know. We shall see.
Yep. Uh, what the hell? Let's go into this here. By the way, 400 people, if you believe the internet, jam-packed the
Oh,
Garden High School, and it looked pretty full. So I'd believe 400.
yeah.
Yeah. But let's go to the intro with JR and Les.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another exciting hour of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I'm Jim Ross, along with my pal Les Thatcher. Ladies and gentlemen, we are excited about Thanksgiving Thunder. That is next week, then we'll talk about that in the hour. But Chris Candido is back from suspension this week.
That's right. We're going to see him today in tag team action with his partner, Boo Bradley.
And ladies and gentlemen, we'll also be speaking with Cactus Jack.
Right, I've got Cactus Jack on Wrestler's Eye View, which is also going to become a feature on the 900 number.
And ladies and gentlemen, in our Beat the Champ television matchup, it will be the television champion Bryant Anderson taking on the veteran George South.
That's right, it's Brian's fourth defense, and George South is going to be a test for him, Jim.
And in our confrontation segment, Bob Armstrong is going to introduce us to the new commissioner of Smoky Mountain Wrestling right here today.
And of course, this is the thing that Jim Cornette has been screaming about for weeks. He wants to know who it is, and so do I.
And what a television main event. The Smoky Mountain Championship will be on the line with strap match rules. The Dirty White Boy defending the title against Bruiser Bedlam with Jim Cornette at ringside.
That's right, and if pinfalls don't count in this one, in a strap match, you've got to pull your opponent by that strap around and touch all four corners. A very, very grueling type of contest.
As we said, ladies and gentlemen, Thanksgiving Thunder is next week. We'll tell you all about it in the hour, but right now let's go up to the ring and our first contest.
All right, so the return of Chris Candido this week.
Yay!
He's been gone for a bit. We'll get to some of the stuff he's been up to here in a minute. The debut of Wrestler's Eye View. I guess Les Thatcher cannot not interview somebody, I guess.
No, he must.
And we have to have both Wrestler's Eye View and also the continuation of Confrontation, which for the third time in the 5 weeks we've had Confrontation, it's going to be Bob Armstrong and Jim Cornette.
I just assume it's going to be that every week.
I mean, at this point, but yeah. And White Boy versus Bruiser Bedlam in a strap match for the title.
Yeah, but nothing stupid's going to happen there.
I mean, what stupid could happen in a strap match? You have two
Right.
guys tied to a strap and whooping each other.
Tied to a strap. They're tied to each other. They're strapped to each other.
Yes. Oh, Lord. And Bryant Anderson versus George South for the Beat the Champ TV title. That damn Bob Caudle, never gave the hat back. And Smoky Mountain spent all their money on the upgraded production, on the new graphics and everything.
He gave the hat back to Dutch, we assume.
I assume Caudle's down in Puerto Rico. He went on vacation with Dutch, and he never came back.
It's a shame. It's a shame that we never had a Dutch on Mid-South, a Dutch on Smoky Mountain, and a Dutch book TNA at the same time on our show.
I mean, close. We keep getting 2 out of 3. But that's about it. I'm sorry. I mean, we'll get to it, but technically Dutch was on the show today. Kind of.
Okay.
You remember what happened, right?
Was there a replay that I'm forgetting?
Yes, they replayed from Sunday Bloody Sunday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because they went way the fuck back because this fucking feud has been going on forever. This feud started it started way back then, but it really the big angle that really got the Cornette and Armstrong feud going happened shortly after I started doing the show. And it's been going on the whole time.
And we're closing in on 100 episodes with you.
Mm-hmm.
It was May of 1993 when they had the big angle at the Rage in the Cage.
Yeah.
So we go to the opener. It's James Atkins and Anthony Michaels versus Tammy Fitch and Boots' team of Boo Bradley and Boo's partner, the WWA World Heavyweight Champion, the United States Junior Heavyweight Champion, and the new NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Chris Candido. Yes, this show was taped the show aired, the same day Chris Candido won the NWA title.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna suggest that we do that tournament as a spot show or something that we never did. I suppose it's not too late.
Yeah, it's never too late. You did suggest it, and I forgot about it until I put two and two together while watching this match.
I didn't even think about it. I have a comment to make about this cat.
Is it the
And
same cat as last week? Because I don't think it is.
well, I think so. Because that wasn't the issue. Maybe it's just bigger because it was a fairly like I don't know. But the
Anyway,
cat's name is Boots.
correct.
But it's like which is people name cats whatever. My cat's name is Astro Peach. But it's like I feel like the name a cat named Boots should be like because it has distinctive color markings on its paws. And this cat is solid black.
Yes, it is. That's why I thought it was a different cat, because I thought the original Boots had the white paws.
I don't think so, but maybe. I
Maybe I'm
like
wrong.
that Astro Peach on his back legs, he has crew socks, and his front paws he just has mittens.
He has kitten mittens.
Yeah.
Um, so Boo brought out a pumpkin, and I thought he was giving candy to the children, but they said he was trick-or-treating, which seems like a bad idea to like be trick-or-treating at the wrestling show. Um, but anyway, he more or less won the match. He had Atkins win with the top rope splash, but Candido demanded to be tagged in so he could make the cover. And so Boo Bradley and Chris Candido get the big win here on Smoky Mountain Wrestling this week. And they note that, Boo Bradley, they're not using his money to buy Boo some clothes because he's in some, lousy hole covered clothes. While Tammy's in a very nice dress, for instance.
I don't think they're treating poor Boo very well. I think Cactus Jack is right.
I think it turns out that, you know, that Cactus may have a point that Boo
Mhm.
is not being treated very well. But, well, for more on this, let's go to JR, who's with Chris Candido, Boo Bradley, and Tammy Fitch.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we mentioned at Thanksgiving Thunder next week, it'll be Cactus Jack and Primetime Brian Lee against this duo. And you've been gone for quite some time, but I'm sure you've been filled in on everything that's been going on. Watch it, will you?
First of all, I just want to say how happy I am to be back at Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I know all the people are glad to have me back, aren't you? In fact, don't touch the cat. At Thanksgiving Thunder, Brian Lee, first of all, you're an idiot. You got an idiot for a partner. And the thing is, I may have an idiot for a partner too, but he's a tough idiot. And he'll do what I say, unlike you two morons who can't do anything. And Thanksgiving Thunder, me and Boo Bradley are taking you two out, right, Tammy?
Boo Bradley, I just want to tell you something, and you listen to me good. Okay. If you don't want anything to happen to this precious little kitty of yours, you're going to do exactly what I say. Yeah. Okay? If you want her in one piece after Thanksgiving Thunder, you do exactly as I tell you. And I want to make a promise to everyone that Cactus Jack and Brian Lee will not be in one piece once we get through with them at Thanksgiving Thunder.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you hear it next week at Thanksgiving Thunder. They abuse this guy something terrible. Here's how you can sponsor Smoke.
Tammy is not lying. Cactus Jack and Brian Lee will not be in one piece after Thanksgiving Thunder. They will, in
Is that
fact, be
because there's
two
two of
pieces.
them?
Yes.
I don't think this Tammy Fitch is a very good person.
I'm starting to get that hint. When she came in and her favorite person in the world was Hillary Clinton, I kind of thought, there might be something there for her, but no, I think to quote Tracy Smothers, she's Tammy Witch with a capital B.
She's a capital one.
Yeah. And I'm afraid to know what might be happening to this cat coming up.
I better not hurt that kitty.
I don't know. I hope he makes it through February once Chris and Tammy leave. But so Chris Candido, Brian says Brian Lee, and Cactus Jack all have idiots for partners. But at least Candido has a tough idiot as a partner. This might be a weird thing to ask. Do you think Candido looks different than the last time we saw him? Does he look more jacked, or is it just he hasn't been here in so long that, not that you forget what he looks like, but like he's been gone for 6 weeks,
I he's probably really like he's probably pretty cut because he's been like he wrestled like 30 whatever days hard matches and however many, I don't know. He's probably in good shape, and it's a mix of both.
So I guess it's not what you make, it's what you save. Because it's funny to me that like Smoky Mountain has gone out and we've got, new graphics, the production is different. We've got Cactus Jack in the territory now. We're spending a little bit more money, but we still have the exact same Smoky Mountain Wrestling and Your Civic Group, an unbeatable tag team commercial from like the first taping of Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Well, it's already why mess with perfection?
That is true. I just think it's funny, and I'm gonna miss that commercial when we get to episode 201. You
Oh,
know,
I hope
But
I hope it's on the very last one.
I'm sure it's on every episode, which is kind of funny if you think about it. Um, but yeah. So from here, let's now go to the debut of Wrestler's Eye View, which is apparently somehow supposed to translate to the hotline. Coming up. But let's go to Wrestler's Eye View with Les Thatcher and his guests Cactus Jack and Primetime Brian Lee. Now, I do have to say, because they couldn't turn the fucking music off, I had to cut off the beginning of Les's comments. But you don't miss anything, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to pick Les up mid-sentence.
Of course, both of you have your personal axes to grind with Candido.
Number 9!
Do you want me to count him out? Exactly what are you guys up to?
You see, we've got a new Brian Lee on our hands. You! The old Brian Lee would have been too polite to slam me during my interview. And the old Brian Lee would have forgotten to hook the leg. You see, because at my purest form, I'm not just a wrestler, I'm a motivator. And Brian Lee is motivated like he's never been before. As a motivator, I have no peers. But as a communicator, well, let's just say I'm finding out the only way I'm able to reach out and touch Boo Bradley is to reach out and touch Boo Bradley. You see, Boo Bradley is like a giant refrigerator with a bunch of spoiled hamburger meat inside. And the only way to fix the problem is A, you either walking around pretending the whole thing doesn't stink, or you open the door, you throw the meat out, and you clean up the problem. So Candido, you are hamburger meat in his hands. You! And I am the refrigerator repairman. Boo! You will be fixed. Bang, bang!
The comments of Cactus Jack, and that has been.
So, Trey, so Primetime Brian Lee is no longer the kind of guy who won't give you a body slam during his promo. But he's also the kind of guy who will also remember to hook the leg. And I have a question here about that. Why do you need to hook the leg during a promo?
I thought the whole point was that Cactus Jack has taught Brian Lee to wrestle by numbers. Like paint by numbers, wrestle
Yes.
by numbers.
Was it Brett and Davey that just like had sequences by numbers?
Maybe.
Yeah. I know somebody has said that they had sequences by numbers in a match that they've wrestled each other a million times, but I don't remember if it was Brett and Davey or somebody else. Anywho, this might be a silly question. Do you think are Cactus Jack's promos too smart for the Smoky Mountain fans? I don't mean like inside wrestling smart. I mean like too intelligent. Too I have to think about what he's saying for these fans. Because like I'm not the one putting them down. I've read how many people say that these fans were not the most intelligent people in the world. You know, Like I think it's sometimes like there's too many analogies that he's making that it's like, okay, like they're funny or whatever, but it's like you have to like be able to like think about it for a second.
Look, however many people there were who were just lost as a result of this promo, there was a little kid like me who actually read who thought that Mick Foley was brilliant, and they were right.
Of course they're right. They're you.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, I, I'm trying to imagine Lance Storm in this same situation. Like Mick telling Lance before the promo, hey, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna scream number 9 at you, and you're gonna body slam me and then hook my leg and cover me. And Lance will be like, why would I do that?
Maybe that's why it's Brian Lee.
There you go. They had the idea for the promo and had to work in who would work best with the promo. Now, here's the problem though. If Brian Lee is now like a Pavlov's dog reaction to this, what if at Thanksgiving Thunder, Brian Lee and Mick Foley are just standing in the ring and like they're calling Candido and Bradley to come to get back in the ring and fight them, and Candido just yells 9. Will Brian Lee like, oh shit, and body slam Cactus Jack?
I hope that's the fucking finish.
Now, now, do you hope Brian Lee pins Cactus Jack in that situation, or that, you know, Candido like runs in and steals the finish?
Is the outlaw rule in effect? Can partners pin partners?
Well, it's not a three-way tag match; it's just a two-way tag match.
So does that mean partners can pin partners or no? I'm not sure
I
of the.
I don't think so.
I don't. I think if I find the NWA rule book for tag team matches, I think it would. I don't think it would say that was allowed.
Well, the problem is Smoky Mountain is not an NWA territory.
Well, the rules have to come from somewhere.
Well, I figure they come from Bullet Bob Armstrong, whatever he feels like enforcing on that given day.
From Bullet Bob Armstrong. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bullet Bob Armstrong is not the commissioner. I'm sorry. We'll cover who the real commissioner is later on.
Yeah.
Yes, Hornswoggle would have been better. Um, Anyway, we're gonna go to a Tracy Smothers promo, but before we saw that, we replayed Bryant pinning him clean last week to build up to their no time limit match coming up at Thanksgiving Thunder.
Mhm.
And Tracy is now with JR.
Got to say, Trace, that Bryant Anderson is for real. He's a rookie, but he is a great young athlete. And what do you think about the match last week?
Well, you know, it's hard to say that he's a rookie because he's been around wrestling all his life. But Bryant Anderson, I did what I said what I was going to do. If you beat me, I was man enough in a sportsmanlike manner to stick out my hand and shake your hand. I did do that. But you sucker punched me. And I ain't going to shake your hand for that. And at Thanksgiving Thunder, I'm going to get even, Bryant Anderson. You're one up on me at Thanksgiving Thunder. You are mine.
Well, we're going to talk more about Thanksgiving Thunder next week. And why don't you set in with Les and I, and let's watch the television champ in action as we take you back to the ring.
There's a lot of reasons why you can't call Bryant Anderson a rookie. I mean, he's trained by one of the best wrestlers ever in Ole Anderson. He's been raised in the wrestling business his whole life. He's been wrestling professionally for about 3 years at this point. All of these reasons would say why Bryant Anderson is not a rookie in a professional wrestling.
That last point, I feel, is particularly poignant for this argument. In fact, I feel like that's the only one that you need to make, really.
Oh God. I guess this would have been before your time, but WCW Magazine used to do end of the year awards, and one year it was best newcomer. And they made a point to say this was not rookie of the year, it was best newcomer. Because they're like Lex Luger is one of the top candidates. And like this was after he came back from the WWF. So it's like the guy who'd been in WCW for 5 years left and came back, is not a rookie of the year. He's best newcomer. And
But That's fucking irritating. Go on, talk about something else.
Okay, let's talk about the Beat the Champ TV title match. Bryant Anderson versus George South. This match went like 4 minutes, and here I'll sum it up for you. Bryant worked the arm. Bryant worked the arm. Bryant worked the arm. Bryant worked the arm. He hit a shoulder breaker and slapped on an arm bar and got the submission. Oh, did I mention he worked the arm?
Does it surprise you that I enjoy Bryant Anderson more than I expected to?
Not necessarily, but I was just like, at some point I'm waiting for him to do a second move, but here we are.
Well, he hasn't needed to yet.
That's true.
He has a second move. He had an inside cradle that he beat Tracy Smothers with.
Yes.
He has 3 moves. He has the arm bar, the shoulder breaker, and inside cradle.
Well, he also has the hammer lock, which is the primary arm hold that he uses.
Well, it's the variation of an arm bar. I would argue.
I actually forgot that his finisher was the arm bar for whatever reason, because I'm like, they spent the whole match talking about how he wants to win by submission because that's an Anderson thing, and I'm like, his fucking finisher is a shoulder breaker, because I forgot that he does the arm bar afterwards. At least, well, we'll just say at least it makes sense, you know. But also, as we kind of implied last week, Oli is a one TV taping wonder, sadly. Yep. But so Bryant wins, and as you heard, Tracy was on commentary for this match. And actually, Tracy, he put Bryant over pretty strong during this match. He pointed out that during their match last week, he was outmanned, he was out wrestled to the point where he threw the first punch in the match because he was being out wrestled by a better man. And so after the match, Bryant Anderson demanded that Brian Matthews come and give him the microphone so he could talk. So let's go to Bryant with a quick little promo here.
You watching, Tracy? You see what I did there? We got a match coming up, Tracy. That's what's going to happen to you.
What's he talking about?
What's Tracy? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do to you.
It is, huh?
If you got guts to get in there with me.
Uh-oh.
I don't think you do. Tracy ain't nothing but a coward.
Tracy is trying to draw.
Well, he said the wrong thing there because Tracy Smothers is no coward. He has left our announce area here and is walking to the ring, and we may have an impromptu matchup right here.
I don't know why it made me laugh when Bryant drops the mic and Tracy's marching to the ring. Brian Matthews just calmly walks up and retrieves the mic and brings it out of the ring.
What a professional.
Yes. You know, he's always there to do his job, I guess. Mark Curtis and Ronnie West walked out to stop them from potentially exchanging holds.
Tracy's a hothead. They would have been exchanging punches.
That is true. Unless Tracy got the better of it, then he would have been exchanging holds.
Oh, you think? Oh, yeah. Well, that's.
Well, I mean, he said he only threw a punch because he was being out wrestled. So.
Well, he's not going to get the better of it. Then he's going to throw punches.
There you go. We've mentioned this before, and like we're just gonna go blue in the face and mention it until 2 weeks from now when they move on to something else. But it's like the fact that they're building up to a no time limit match, and they keep pushing this no time limit match, and they just had a fucking match on television that Bryant won clean. I wouldn't even complain this much if like Bryant had cheated to win. Like, he grabbed the tights. He grabbed the ropes for leverage. No, Tracy did an inside cradle and Bryant reversed it for a clean pin in the middle of the ring.
This is becoming a common issue in this company.
And what's that?
Just people beating people on TV unnecessarily. Maybe that's why fucking house shows didn't draw, you think?
Possibly. And also they just don't have they don't have anything interesting on top at this point. I don't even think. I guess it's impossible to say because we saw Bruiser Bedlam get beat clean. But it's like there's a part of me that wonders, like, would Bruiser Bedlam really have drawn on top even if he wouldn't have gotten pinned clean in that match?
That's an entirely fair point, but it still fucking irritates me.
Oh my God, that's gonna add to my list of reasons to be pissed off at the main event. Oh my God, I can't wait for the main event for more than one reason. So from here we go to confrontation, and for the third time in the 5 weeks of a confrontation, it's with Bullet Bob Armstrong and Jim Cornette, and we've already have new graphics for confrontation. It's no longer sponsored by the Smoky Mountain Hotline. Let's just go to confrontation.
The subject of this week's confrontation, will you please be polite to these fans, is to find out who the new commissioner in Smoky Mountain is.
That's exactly right, and I got something else I want to find out. I want to find out how far you're going to run, how many times your arms are going to flap when Abdullah the Butcher gets a hold of you at Thanksgiving Thunder. That's what I want to find out. I want to find out how many pieces that he's going to chew you up in and how many places he's going to spit you out in. And Bob Armstrong, by next weekend at Thanksgiving Thunder, you're going to be out of my life and out of my hair. But I see, since you know I'm the one that got the injunction forcing you to reveal who the new commissioner has been since August the 5th, I see you're standing out here all by your decrepit lonesome, which means what I suspected all along is exactly the case. It's been you, yourself, and thou all along and nobody else. And I've already talked to my attorney, Robert Shapiro, and I'm going to have you in so many courtrooms for this con job that you put on me, on the people, and on all of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. You ain't got no new commissioner. It's you, or you would have produced him. I'm going to sue you, punk. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, you know, I've heard the wind blow before, Cornette, and I knew you was going to get your battery of lawyers, Robert Shapiro, whoever you say. So I came prepared tonight. You know, I had to look over a long list to find the man who thought like I think, who had the same values I did, and would give everybody a fair shake, not just listen to one side of the story, your side, but listen to both sides of the story. And I went over a list this long and leaned back in my chair and said, I can't find anybody that would really fit the bill. And all of a sudden, you know, Jim, a light bulb went off in my head, and I found the man that I really needed to take my place as commissioner was right under my nose. And I want you to be the one to meet him tonight. And I'm talking about none other than Scott Armstrong himself.
Your son? Your son, Scott, is the new commissioner?
He's been the commissioner all along. He's the one that made those crummy rulings. He's the one that handed down those backhanded decisions. You have perpetrated another one on me again, Armstrong. I'm going to tell you this right now. You smile and you laugh while the laughing's good. But by the time Thanksgiving Thunder's over with, Abdullah the Butcher's going to make you an hors d'oeuvre in a big Armstrong pie. And you and the whole family will be out of my hair.
Well, obviously, Jim Cornette very upset about this turn of events. The new commissioner is here.
That's exactly right. Tell him, Scott.
That's exactly right. You know, it's really good to be back in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I want everybody to know that when me and my brother Steve left the Smoky Mountain Wrestling area, I felt that we could do more for the business outside the ring. And with our father inside the ring, it was a little easier to make the decisions. Well, now, Brother Steve is back in town, Scott's back in business, and the Armstrong brothers are a team once again in Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
That's exactly right. And you know, we've heard the man talk about Abdullah the Butcher. And people have wondered, Bullet, maybe you took on a little too much. You're taking on a man that weighs 450 pounds. That's hurt people.
That's an obvious question, Bob.
That's right. He outweighs me 200 pounds, but I guess Cornette never heard about David Goliath. But the reason I made the stipulation that if I do beat Abdullah the Butcher some way, shape, or form, that he'd have to crawl across the ring and kiss my feet, is because back on Light of the Legends, I had to do something that was really humiliating, something really bad. I think you've got a film that shows exactly what I'm talking about.
I think we're going to take everybody back to February, as a matter of fact, and show them exactly what happened in a match involving the Funks. Let's take a look.
So we're just dropping all the OJ references we can all across wrestling television, as Cornette has hired Robert Shapiro as his lawyer and will sue Bullet Bob. And Scott Armstrong is the commissioner.
Peanut head.
Oh, God. I don't even know about this. What? And the funny thing is, it's like they waited till the very end because, as has been acknowledged on this show, Bullet Bob becomes commissioner on December 1st.
Yeah.
But I guess it's to give a little bit of, doubt to the Thanksgiving Thunder finish because, if it's Scott Armstrong as commissioner, well, it's still going to be a babyface commissioner who's going to make Jim Cornette rue the day and yada, yada, yada. But then they tell us that Scott is here and Steve is back in town and they're going to be wrestling again. Doesn't that defeat the entire purpose of why Bob couldn't be the commissioner? Was because he couldn't wrestle and be the commissioner at the same time?
I don't believe any of this fuckery.
Exactly. Because why would it even be a mystery? Like, why bother having it? Oh, man, I'm worried that Scott Armstrong, my son, Scott Armstrong, is going to somehow get, bamboozled by Cornette.
Well, Peanut Head may not be the brightest one in the family.
That is true. That is true. So did you notice the faux pas here?
The Fox Paws? No.
Yes.
What was it?
So after they send us the footage from Sunday Bloody Sunday, which is not to be confused with Light of the Legends, whatever show that was, where the Funks were beating up somebody in the ring and trying to force him to kiss Jim Cornette's feet, who are they doing that to, Trey?
That was Bullet Bob Armstrong's close personal friend, the Bullet.
So why is Bob Armstrong upset about what they were doing to him when they weren't doing it to him?
Because he and the Bullet are close, such good friends that it pained him to witness that. Like if Jim Cornette and the Funk Brothers were beating you down, it would hurt me ever so terribly to watch that, and I would feel obliged to take revenge for you.
And so 9 months later, would you try to get Jim Cornette to kiss your feet because of it?
I get around to it. I had a lot of stuff going on.
I appreciate that, Trey. Maybe at Sunday Bloody Sunday 2, Jim Cornette's going to beat me up, and maybe you'll get revenge for me before the show goes off the air.
Maybe at the Thanksgiving Thunder Tour right around next 4th of July.
You'll get revenge for me on the 5th Thanksgiving Thunder Tour. You're just biding your time right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So after the footage of that, we go back to a little bit more Bullet Bob.
The reason that I want, if I win this match, for Cornette to have to crawl across the ring and kiss my feet, because no amount of money will buy the self-satisfaction. I want all the fans that he's insulted to be there, because when he kisses my feet, I want you to feel like he's kissing yours. He's intimidated us enough. And I'll tell you what, Cornette, I'll leave you this. At Thanksgiving Thunder, when you're crawling across that ring on your belly like a reptile, think of 2 words, just 2 words: pucker up.
All right, ladies.
By the way, so that because they didn't show it, which makes me think it didn't happen. Didn't like the baby faces save Bullet Bob from having to kiss Cornette's feet back at Sunday Bloody Sunday?
Who?
The baby faces ran in to save the Bullet from actually kissing Cornette's feet, because like they showed the Funks drag Bullet over, and they showed Cornette get into position, but then he said, "Wait, before we do this," and then they cut away. Why do I remember them like the baby faces ran in for the save and not, Bullet actually kissing Cornette's feet?
That's because it's probably what happened. Because I trust your memory.
I trusted with an asterisk on it right now. Like, I'm 85% sure that Bullet Bob never kissed Cornette's feet, especially now that they aired that part of it. But anyway, so here's a question. I know we have Cactus Jack in the territory now, and I know you gotta you gotta give way to your stars and give them certain amenities, but why is Cactus Jack's theme song the theme song for the 3rd annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour?
Because he's the major attraction of the tour, I would assume.
I guess. You think Cactus was looking forward to seeing his old friend and business partner Abdullah the Butcher?
Almost certainly. It's I may actually try to tweet Cornette to ask at which point did he learn that Abdullah the Butcher wasn't going to be at Thanksgiving Thunder.
I did accidentally see who replaces Abdullah the Butcher. I was reading the Observer this week. I won't spoil it for you. I'll let it be a surprise for you. I mean,
Okay, I'm guessing we'll find out next week or the week after.
I'm assuming so. This was just Dave saying that Abdullah will be replaced by blah blah blah.
Okay, thank you, Dave.
No problem. It's a star. It's not like, that who was it they had under the mask that time? When Cornette was going to bring in a big star. It's nothing like that.
I remember that happening, but I don't remember who it was.
Yes. So neither the Gangsters or the Rock and Roll Express were invited to the building for this week's show, so we took a camera to them to cut promos. I gotta tell you, don't go to the show and still get paid. That that sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
Okay, was this not the same like promos that we've previously seen?
That's what I was gonna ask you. Like the Rock and Roll Express promo, that was different, even though they said more or less the same thing, because this was a different promo because they had the trash bin of stuff there. And the Gangsters promo, I couldn't make up my mind because like it was very, very similar, just a condensed version of the one we saw a few weeks ago, where they're talking while D'Lo is bringing around garbage and weapons. But it was like cut off in the middle because before or D'Lo got into the field behind them to find more stuff. I'm thinking at least that part's the same thing. I'm not going to end up playing because the Rock and Roll, like Ricky Morton said almost word for word exactly what he said before, just this time he had some weapons sitting in front of him.
Yeah, when I saw the Gangsters promo, I just sort of assumed that it was the same one, and I kind of stopped. I zoned out. They were substantively the same, if not exactly the same.
Yeah. Now they do inform us what the rules are or how the setup is for, get a street fight.
Oh boy, do they! Yes. Let's talk about this.
The ring is going to be set up like a ghetto, so there's going to be weapons and trash and maybe even a wino or two there.
Maybe.
Now, Trey, if they were to try to have this match in 2026, would a bunch of white people come in to clean it up to increase the property values and turn it into a gentrification street fight?
That's a tremendous stipulation.
I could not remember the word gentrification when I was watching the show earlier. I was Googling, what's the word when you clean up an area? And could not find.
I just thought of an all-time dream match. I wanna make this happen in my Fire Pro game. The Gangsters versus the Mean Street Posse.
Oh my God. Why do you hate Pete Gas, Rodney, and Joey Abs so much?
Oh, that'd be a Lulu, wouldn't it?
That would be a gentrification match.
It might be the second mass transit incident.
Poor Pete Gas. Because Pete would be the one to take the blame.
The Pete Gas incident.
Hey, Pete bladed all the hell at WrestleMania that one year.
Yeah.
Of all the fucking people in the world to blade like a mother, it was Pete Gas.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to were there other members of the Mean Street Posse before they actually started wrestling? There were random extras part of the Mean Street Posse. Yeah,
I think so. And then they got rid of the extra guys and they put Joey Abs with them, who's the one guy who was actually a wrestler.
Yes. Hey, they found one of Matt Hardy's friends who looked like a preppy guy, and it worked.
Good for him. He got a job out of it for a few years.
Exactly. Any other thoughts on the setup to the ghetto street fight? Maybe a wino or two.
The ring is going to be set up like a ghetto. Okay. Thanks for finally saying it, Les.
Oh Lord, I don't know. It's probably best to not do commentary on that one. So I had to laugh. Um, and I love everybody involved, but JR and Les are talking about the ghetto street fight when suddenly White Boy runs in.
Don't mean to interrupt you guys. I know you got a lot of things going on, but last week I promised the people that I wanted a strap match. Today's main event right here, Bruiser Bedlam and myself will be in a strap match. And I'm sure Jim Cornette is going to be at ringside, but Ron Wright's not here today, so I don't know. He's supposed to be, but he's not. But Ron's not here, so I've got to go on without him. All
right. Thank you, Tony. Good luck to you in that matchup. And
So I guess I should have kept playing it a few extra seconds more to do the joke here. But like JR and Les are talking about the gangsters of rock and roll, White Boy comes running in to say, man, we're going to have a strap match when Ron Wright's not here. And JR's basically like, thanks for letting us know, Tony. So the Rock and Roll Express and the gangsters are going to have this ghetto street fight.
Well, he did just interrupt their fucking time.
That is true. That is true. And ultimately, like I guess it is whatever. We had to hear from White Boy somehow. But the way also he said it, like it was news that the main event's going to be a strap match.
Well,
let's go back to the desk because JR has now got scheduled interview time with Jim Cornette and Bruiser Bedlam.
we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I've been joined by Jim Cornette and Bruiser Bedlam. That Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Championship matchup is coming up momentarily.
And just in a couple of minutes, Bruiser Bedlam is going to be the champion. But what did I hear the Dirty White Boy say a few minutes ago? Is Ron not here today?
Ron Wright is not here today, according to the Dirty White Boy.
Well, that's so terrible because I had his Geritol in the back on ice for him, ready and waiting. I had to milk a magnesia, and I wanted to get him all jazzed up so he could see Bruiser Bedlam beat the Dirty White Boy today. But I'm going to tell you something. Ron Wright, at Thanksgiving Thunder, you're going down, Polk, you know, just like Muhammad Ali. He was great in his day, stepped to the ring one time too many, and got his brain scrambled on the end of a fist sandwich. Jim Cornette has the opportunity at Thanksgiving Thunder to beat a legend, because I could whip him any day of the week. Come on, Bruiser, let's get out of here.
Well, yeah, right, get out of here. Ladies and gentlemen.
I thought Muhammad Ali keeps being referenced on our shows this week.
Yeah.
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 But I like the idea of this, where it's like Cornette is a pussy. He can't beat anybody, but he can beat an old man, right? Right?
Yeah, surely.
Yeah. It's actually a similar process that led us to Jim Cornette versus Jose Lothario in WWF.
Yeah.
You know, 61-year-old Jose Lothario. Remember when like Jake and oh my God, I should feel the back pain on this one. Remember when Jake was in the finals of the King of the Ring and he was 41 years old and Owen Hart kept saying he's not 41, he's 51 or 61. I don't know why it made me think about that, but maybe it's because I'm now 41. You know. Did you ever see Home Alone 2?
Yes.
Okay.
1,000 times.
Yes. Remember the scene where Harry and Marv were debating what to steal, and Marv's like a candy store, and Harry's like 9-year-olds rob candy stores, Marv.
Yeah.
Well, that movie came out when I was 9, and my brother replayed that 5 seconds over and over and over and over again. And remember, this is the days of a VCR, so it was not easy to keep rewinding to that same spot over and over again. And sure enough, a year and a half later, when that pain in my ass turned 9-year-olds rob candy stores, Marv. 9-year-olds rob candy stores, Marv. Ad nauseam.
And did your brother ever put theory to practice to try to rob a candy store?
Not to the best of my knowledge. If he did, he just did such a good job at it, we never found out about it. Yeah. Smoky Mountain champion Dirty White Boy versus Bruiser Bedlam with 7-time Manager of the Year Jim Cornette in a strap match. I like to think Brian Matthews is just like doing stuff to pop himself at that point. Like 7-time Manager of the Year Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
We get our hotline plug this week because JR has some interesting news from the WCW and WWF on the Smoky Mountain hotline this week.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I don't have any interesting WWF news this week myself. So I should have listened to the Smoky Mountain hotline to find some out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I started writing it. This was closer to like a modern day strap match because back in my day, kid, when you had a strap match, you had to drag your opponent to all four corners. You had to tie him up and you had to drag him around or carry him on your shoulder. And it always led to the strap match finish where they both hit three corners and turn the corner and yada, yada, yada. This was more of a modern day one where it's like, as long as you hit all four corners, it doesn't matter whether you bring your opponent with you or not. And as I'm typing that out, JR said a random ass comment because Bruiser Bedlam was choking White Boy in the corner and Mark Curtis was counting. And I paid no thought to it. It went over my head, wasn't even noticing what was going on. And JR said that, well, if he would have gotten to 5, Bruiser Bedlam would have been disqualified. Like, he was not going to be disqualified. And this is when I text you or I message you. I'm like, there's not going to be a disqualification in this match, right?
And I knew.
Then, by the way, did you notice or did it like ring a bell in your head that JR said this was not going to be a Rey Mysterio Jr. match?
I did. Yeah, I did notice that.
Because another one of those things, it's like it goes over your head when you watch in 2026, unless you're really paying attention to the time frame. This is before Rey Mysterio Jr. got a break on U.S. national television. This is before Rey was on WCW. This is before Rey was on ECW. Like, yes, like When Worlds Collide was a week earlier. We talked about that. But it's like, JR had to either watch that show or know enough about that show to reference Rey Mysterio Jr. Because if he was just like reading the results, he could have said, oh, it's not a Conan match. It's not an El Hijo del Santo match. Which I would have loved to hear JR try to say El Hijo del Santo, or Perro Aguayo. But like things like that. He could have said, he just looked at the top of the card, who's in the main event, and said that. But no, he said Rey Mysterio Jr., which shows a little bit. Yeah, shockingly enough, JR takes pride in his work.
JR read the Observer.
He did. I mean, definitely. And even if he didn't have a subscription, Cornette did.
Yeah.
And so White Boy starts his comeback, and Bruiser Bedlam, being the dumb heel that he is, and dumb in a good way, heel that he is, decides to walk off. And of course, it's hard to walk off in a strap match because you're attached to a strap that's attached to your opponent. And so
it does
White
complicate things.
Yes. And it's funny because he's walking away with his arm going behind him. So it's not even like, oh, he just forgot. It's like, nope, his arm is behind his back at this point. And White Boy just yanks him all the way back into the post. When pro wrestling is goofy, it is fucking tremendous.
Isn't it wonderful?
Then we get the finish.
Mm-hmm.
Dirty White Boy hits the Buck Snort Blaster. He hits his finish. Now, of course, the finish of a strap match, as I mentioned already, you go around and hit all four corners. It is a match that is automatically designed to protect the loser because the loser does not get pinned. The loser does not submit. The loser just, stayed down long enough for his opponent to take a lap of the ring. So White Boy hits one corner, turns the corner, hits a second corner. He turns the corner and hits a third corner. He turns the corner, and Jim Cornette runs in and hits him with the racket for the disqualification. What the fuck was this?
That was bad.
What the fuck? You had a disqualification in a strap match.
And why the fuck do you do a DQ in this match where it doesn't matter? Because we're blowing off Bruiser Bedlam. Bruiser Bedlam is not here for very much longer. Why can you not pin Bruiser Bedlam when the Dirty White Boy already pinned Bruiser Bedlam before their fucking house show program, and now they gotta have a DQ and a fucking strap match.
Plus, he wouldn't even have to pin Bruiser Bedlam. Just walk 3 more feet and touch the corner post.
Yeah, that's right. That's even dumber than I gave it credit for.
Like, holy fuck on a fuck. You know, back in 2009, 2010, Vince Russo did an interview somewhere, and he said something like, "Who said there can't be a disqualification in a cage match?" And everybody ripped on him for that. Because who the fuck would book a disqualification in a cage match? Now, not just because it's a cage match, but because it's inherently a no disqualification endeavor. Well,
it's not it should be, but it historically wasn't always.
Yeah. But
which is fucking stupid.
It is fucking stupid. And that's the thing. Again, wrestling is a work. They know what the finish is. Jim Cornette was not standing out there going, "Oh shit, my man's about to lose. I need to go do something." And Mark Curtis wasn't confused and went, "Oh shit, something's going on. I need to call for the bell." This was the designed finish of this match.
If Vince Russo is ever right about anything, it's by accident.
Yes, it is. Or when it's something that has nothing to do with him. Yeah. It's like anytime he'd ever go on, like, remember when Raw really sucked and he'd go online and talk about how much Raw sucked and people are like, "Oh man, Vince Russo knows what he's talking about. What's wrong with this world?" Like, it doesn't take a genius to point out when something sucks. Like, it takes a little bit of genius to know when something you do sucks, but still. But yeah, this just fucking sucked and was stupid and was like, what the hell, man? It's like, if you're gonna do a match and not have a finish, just do a regular match. Just do a regular match, and White Boy could hit the Buck Snort Blaster. Cornette would have ran in, hit him with the racket, and it would have been a disqualification. And Trae and I wouldn't be screaming about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, our anger about this overshadows what happens next, where Mr. Ron Wright, is here. He really is here. He gets in the ring and punched Corny. And the faces stood tall.
So he was here after all.
Yes, he was. The Gangsters couldn't make it. The Rock and Roll Express couldn't make it. But Mr. Ron Wright did, in fact, make it.
Well, at least there's that.
Yeah. So anything else you want to say about this match? Because at least before the finish, it was a perfectly acceptable television match.
Yeah, it was fine up until it was stupid.
All right, so let's go to a show-closing promo with the Dirty White Boy and Mr. Ron Wright.
Wicked Thanksgiving Thunder.
Jim Cornette, did you think you was the only man that knew how to be devious? Deception? I mean, it's all gathered up into one. We've gone crazy out here. You know why? Because what just happened out here is just a little bit of taste that come out of the legendary Ron Wright's rule book, which means there are no rules. Anything is going to happen. We've been getting all of his old chains and stuff out, shining them up. And I went and personally got down on my hands and knees and shined up that good old loaded boot that's going on that big right leg to bust you Thanksgiving Thunder right in your big squirrel head. Ain't that right, Ron?
Let me tell you something, Cornette. I'd forgot about all of the dirty, low-down, sneaking, conniving tricks I had hid back in my home there in Kingsport, Tennessee in the basement till I brought my beloved white boy and we went down and went through him and looked at him. And let me tell you something, brother. I can't tell you what I've got for you. I have never been so low and pulled so much slime up out of the gutter. But, brother, when it comes Thanksgiving Thunder, you may want to watch this right hand with my big pair of steel nuts on it. You may need to watch both of my boots because I tell you, the mood you've got me in, brother, I'm going to warp your head up so bad. Your own mother and your old lady won't even know you when I get done with you.
You look 20 years younger, Ron. Right here, baby. Cornette, get ready for the whooping of a lifetime.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's next week at Thanksgiving Thunder. And this week on our 900 number poll question, was Ron Wright justified in jumping Jim Cornette here just moments ago? You can vote on the...
At some point, it's going to come back to bite Jim Ross in the ass that he can't come up with a poll question until he figures something based on what happens on the show.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
We're going to get some week where it'll be like, was George South justified in being pulled for Beat the Champ this week? Because nothing else happened on the show.
Yeah.
So another fantastic Ron Wright promo. We do not have many of these left. I don't know if Mr. Wright's going to be here, post Thanksgiving Thunder. In fact, I'd bet he's not because, it's, he does come back one more time, though. We will see him before Smoky Mountain goes off the air.
Oh, yeah.
Before it gets canceled. It might have been a little too perky for me. But yeah, they're going to get all their favorite weapons ready. They got the load of boots shined up. Yeah, I can't wait for the third annual Thanksgiving Thunder Tour. Just not sure when the hell it is.
I think it's New Year's Eve.
Okay, interesting. So we do have one more Bruiser Bedlam match on television. And what episode is this? 147. So he's going to have one more match on TV in 5 weeks, and that's it.
Yeah, listen, he's been very enjoyable. I enjoyed Bruiser Bedlam a lot.
Yep. He just goes back to like Michigan, Ohio, Ontario Indies. And that's about it. He apparently remember when WCW did like a Buffalo Legends show?
Yeah.
He does that. Yeah. He teams with somebody named Cowboy Johnson to lose to Dominic DeNucci and Tony Parisi, Johnny Swinger's dad there.
Oh, how about that?
Do you remember the story when they had Johnny Swinger in WWE and like Triple H didn't know who the hell he was and tried to get him booted from the backstage area?
No, it's funny.
Yes. Anyway, 147 down, 53 to go. We are 1 week and 1 year away from the show being over.
Yeah, yes.
Let's pour one out for Smoky Mountain Wrestling. So, what else is happening in the world of wrestling this week? And All Japan Women held their biggest show ever, the Big Egg Wrestling Universe show, in front of 42,000 people at the Tokyo Dome. And it probably would have been more if they hadn't blocked off approximately 14,000 seats in order to set up a giant entryway with special effects. And they actually spent $1.1 million on special effects for this show.
Wow.
Yeah. And the show went 10 hours long, had 23 matches. And due to the length and due to, I guess Tokyo must have a curfew on people under the age of 18. I don't know if it's the Tokyo Dome or just Tokyo in general. But since the show went until midnight, a lot of people, both kids and also adults who didn't have their own cars, because public transportation shuts down early, they had to leave before the end of the show. But other than that, long considered one of like the best shows ever, especially of the 90s. Apparently there were 7 matches on the show that were at least 4 stars.
When are we going to do that spot show?
Do you have a spare 10 hours sometime?
I will work something out.
Sure. Okay. We'll do 10 different spot shows. Now, actually, I lied earlier because there was a little bit of WWF news, but it's attached to the All Japan Women's show. Bull Nakano defeated Alundra Blaze for the WWF Women's title in what was, in many ways, the most disappointing match on the show because, especially because they were the semi-main event. And that was a typical position to be in anyway. But because it was match number 22 of 23, the promoters asked them to work an American-style match just to have a different match on the show. And so they basically did their WWF house show match, which was the second best match on a WWF house show, but made it on the lower end of matches on this show.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. And so yeah, Bull Nakano won the title, and she cut a promo, or maybe she didn't cut a promo, or she did a press conference where she was going to go to America until the end of September of '95, and well, she doesn't last that long. And to be honest, outside of the outside of the interview she does at Survivor Series in a couple of days, she's basically never seen again until she loses the belt to Alundra Blaze. Like, I know she did a bunch of house shows. I think you saw she did one TV taping match that I believe you, but I have no memory of that ever happening. But that's it. I think she had legal. Either she had no, I don't think she had legal problems. I think she had like drug issues, and that's kind of why her WWF run came to an end, kind of abruptly.
Yeah.
If my memory is correct, and I don't mean to besmirch Bull Nakano if I'm remembering incorrectly. But yeah.
We don't want to do any besmirching.
Nope. You never besmirch at 9 o'clock at night.
No.
Elsewhere, WCW held their most recent Clash of the Champions show, which was the first test in a post Ric Flair WCW world. They drew poorly in Jacksonville. The rating was up a little bit, but again, like, you're paying Hulk Hogan a shit ton of money for the tiny bit of a ratings blip that you got out of this. This was not a win for the Hulk Hogan playbook, although Hulk Hogan got a win in the main event where he and Sting defeated the Butcher, Avalanche, and Kevin Sullivan in a 3-on-2 handicap match. After the match, Butcher put Hogan in a sleeper hold for 70 seconds while the announcers flipped out about how, he's been in that hold for 5 or 6 minutes and how it could permanently injure Hogan. And eventually, the person who made the save for Hulk Hogan, was it Sting? No. Was it soon-to-be WCW signee Macho Man Randy Savage? No. Was it the Nasty Boys, maybe? No. It was Doug Dillinger made the save for the Hulkster there.
Would that have been better or worse than if it had been Evod Sullivan?
Well, it's funny because Evod was supposed to be in the match in a 6-man tag, but Avalanche took him out before the match really started.
Oh, mean old Avalanche.
Yep, indeed. By the way, we forgot to mention, they announced at the end of the Smoky Mountain show next week, the Gangsters versus Primetime Brian Lee and Lance Storm for the tag team titles. And it's a Lance Storm leaves town match.
Aw.
Yep. It's not quite a Brian Lee leaves town match. Brian Lee is here for another TV taping. But yeah, I'm sorry to report Lance is on his way out of the territory. I don't want to let that make you think I'm spoiling next week's match, because Lance and Brian could win the tag titles and then lose them on a house show.
They could, any number of things could happen.
Exactly. And also in the WCW being scummy department, I remember a few months ago we mentioned that Ricky the Dragon Steamboat suffered what turned out to be a career-ending back injury.
I do recall that.
Well, his contract was due to expire at the end of December, but WCW didn't want to wait that long and instead just fired him here in the middle of November.
Well, that's a terrible thing.
Yes, indeed. So, leave it to WCW to do something ultra scummy here.
WCW, everyone.
Yep. Indeed. I hope that company goes out of business.
Yeah, hopefully.
I don't want to say that Eric Bischoff may have shitty memory, but he apparently on his podcast complained that, in WCW, no celebrity ever backed out like Pat McAfee did out of the WWE recently. Completely forgetting that Master P backed out almost immediately after his first appearance on Nitro.
What are you going to do?
Yes, I would never accuse Eric Bischoff of being a liar or anything.
No, I would never accuse Eric Bischoff of any such thing.
No. I'd also never say anything like 8647 in case, I get investigated by, the FBI or anything,
Yeah, it's pretty fucking
or
stupid.
indicted. By the way, for those of us who are down in the Massachusetts area, coming up in a few weeks, Beyond Wrestling in Worcester is putting on the Wrestivus. It is a wrestling festival where they're having like half a dozen shows over one weekend coming up in a few weeks.
Oh.
So yeah, if you are in or around Worcester, Massachusetts, come check it out at the world famous White Eagle. I just saw a poster for one of the shows. TJ Perkins is going to be here. And
Oh.
yes, so I may have to go check it out. My only problem is one of the shows is CZW, and it's like in between like two shows I'd rather go to instead. And it's like I don't like and Worcester is like an hour and a half drive for me, so it's like I'm not gonna go drive home and then turn around and come back.
You sit in the car and read a book.
That is possible too, but there's also part of me that's like I may just go plunk down the money and sit in the back or something. But
Yeah,
yeah.
good luck with that.
Yeah. There's also going to be a WWE ID show as well that weekend. Um, and yeah, it should be super duper fun. And actually the Friday and Saturday shows are the White Eagle, and the Sunday shows are at the Worcester Public Market. I'm not sure where that is, but I bet it's not that hard to find.
I bet it's in Worcester.
I bet it's in Worcester. And hey, WCW did a lot of things that made me know the pronunciation of Worcester before I moved here. Because they did Slamboree in Worcester.
Yep.
I miss like pay-per-views being in like random ass cities, like
Yeah.
Worcester, Mass. Like they did it in your house in Saginaw, Michigan, like which may hold the record for like the most random ass city to ever hold a major wrestling pay-per-view.
North Charleston, South Carolina.
Well, that was Beware of Dog 2, right? Because wasn't Beware of Dog 1? I forget.
One of them was North Charleston and one was Florence, I think.
Yeah, Florence was Beware of Dog 1.
Okay.
So it's like I mean, giving it credit for being a pay-per-view in a random ass city, but it wasn't intended to be a pay-per-view in a random ass city.
Wasn't that Good Friends Better Enemies match we were talking about? Wasn't that in Omaha?
It was.
Yeah. Why do I remember that?
Because I also told you that Stevie J was at it and he lives in that area.
I don't know where Stevie J is from. I don't know Stevie
Okay.
J as well that you do.
Okay. Well, he was from that area. But yeah, I know you always rip on me every time I say this, but I still don't know why they don't do a live TV show in either Alaska or Hawaii. Not that like it's like you desperately need to do that, but for like a world of wrestling that like, oh man, we want to be the first people to do everything. Being able to say you're the first company to ever do a live show from Alaska or Hawaii, that I feel like that would be something to brag about, you know? But I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, we had Dynamite on a cruise ship one time.
That was cool.
And I'm kind of sad that like, AEW hasn't done the more like I don't say gimmicky. I mean it is kind of gimmicky, but like the more out of the box shows for tapings. Like,
Yeah.
like when they started, like everyone's like, oh man, it's gonna give us Nitro vibes, like they're gonna go to Club La Vila and all that shit. And like I mean, yeah, the pandemic kind of ixnayed that too, but still it's like you'd like to go back to that, the random ass shit like that. And I don't know, like wrestling was fun. Like wrestling was always fun where like, you know, when they did like random ass shit like that. And also wrestling is fun when it's like you don't limit yourself to the big cities for important stuff. Like remember a couple years ago when they did Backlash in Providence and they were gonna do a Roman Reigns title match and then Vince McMahon was like, "Oh man, we need to save that for a big city." And instead it was like they changed it to a Roman Reigns 6-man tag. I remember being so pissed off about that too, because I'm like, so if we're not that important that we don't deserve important matches, then you don't deserve my fucking money. You know?
Is that what finally broke you?
A little bit. I was breaking by that point anyway. But yeah. I do not like being insulted, you know?
Then why you do the show with me?
Because I can at least insult you back. Plus, if you ever really like get the best of me on an insult, I know what to say to piss you off. So, you know, I can win at the end because I fight dirty.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's a great way for our friendship to build here.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, and I should find out this gentleman's name. We do want to send best wishes to the family of Marc Izard. Marc Izard. He's a fan from the UK who came to Vegas for WrestleMania and passed away. And right now
I saw that. It
yeah,
was terrible.
they're investigating it, and hopefully foul play was not involved, but they are currently doing an autopsy on him, and hopefully everything was on the up and up. It's he was a young person, so it's like, you have your doubts, but hopefully it's nothing terrible, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully.
Apparently NXT is gonna have all their fucking shows on the CW now. All the PLEs are now on the CW network.
Oh, how about that?
Yes. Which I don't know. It's like I guess they had to go somewhere. But whatever. So I imagine coming up against your next AEW pay-per-view will be NXT Heatwave or whatever. Although I'd like to think they learned their lesson, like the last time they tried this when they did the Saturday night's main event against Y'all In, and the SNME was a very disappointing rating in comparison.
But it was disappointing in a lot of ways.
Well, it was Goldberg versus Gunther in the retirement match. Alrighty. So I guess we're just dragging our feet at this point. But so we might as well bring it to an end here. So I want to thank everyone for listening. I hope you all enjoyed the show. We'll be back next week. Tuesday we'll be here for the David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions 2 with Lizzie Flanagan. And so much more. TNA yesterday, Mid-South World Class Tuesday. Tonight I'm on the ECW show over on the site formerly known as angrymarks.com. Check it out. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See you in 7 days.
Bye.